Welcome, everyone, to Steve Savant's Money, the name of the game. I'm your host, Steve Savant, syndicated financial columnist and money-colored commentator. On today's show, the tax-favored treatment of life insurance, part 4 in our series on the alternative solutions of life insurance with best-selling author, popular platform speaker, and nationally recognized retirement expert, Tom Hegna. Welcome to segment 4, Tom.
Great to be back, Steve.
Well, we're talking, listen, especially you scared me a couple of shows ago. We were talking about $20 trillion in debt, $120 trillion in all the social obligations of Medicare, Social Security, Medicaid, and that's not even including military and government pension obligations. Right. And you said taxes are going up, so anytime we say tax-favored treatment, our ears should be pressed up against the video and listening to this, because this is going to be an important thing. This is where we're going to play. And by the way, in retirement, shockingly, even though long-term care is a very big expense in retirement, not bigger than taxes.
Yeah.
Not bigger. So let's talk about the tax advantages of life insurance.
Well, if you remember that article I wrote, there were 3 reasons why people always buy life insurance. 1, life insurance was a women's issue. We discussed that. Number 2, life insurance is a tax issue. So what am I talking about? Well, if we look at the history of the U.S. marginal tax rate, and Steve, this is an interesting chart, you can see that for most of your parents' lives, the marginal tax rate was over 70%.
Oh, my gosh.
Now, the marginal tax rate means the highest tax rate. So that the wealthiest people would pay tax at over 70% after a certain level. Look at it was over 90%. Well, where are we today? We're at 39.6%. So as we said, we're $20 trillion in debt. We have $120 trillion of unfunded obligation for Social Security, Medicare, Medicaid. Where do you think taxes are going from here? Now, I know we got a president who says he's going to lower taxes. I know that. And I've watched presidents raise taxes, lower taxes. The math says eventually taxes are going to have to go up. And see, IRAs and 401ks made perfect sense when we were in a declining tax rate environment, because you take money out of your check where you would have paid tax up here, you let it grow tax deferred, and then you take it out in retirement and you pay lower taxes. Made perfect sense. But Steve, if taxes are going to go up, how much sense does it make to take money out of my check right here, take a tax deduction, let it grow tax deferred, so when taxes go up here, I'll take it out and pay taxes? It doesn't make sense. And what's going to happen is a lot of people that put their money in IRAs and 401ks, they're going to pay the price for all this debt and for all these obligations. And so my whole point is, doesn't it make sense to have a place that you can go to take money out that's not going to get whacked in taxes? So, if there was a tax-perfect investment, what would it look like? You get a tax-deductible contribution, your growth would be tax-deferred, and you'd get money out tax-free. That would be tax-perfect. Well, guess what? In America, tax-perfect doesn't exist. You get to pick 1 and 2 or 2 and 3. Well, what most Americans have done is pick 1 and 2. That's your IRA, your 401k, and your profit sharing. So you get a tax deduction when you put it in, and it grows tax-deferred. However, when you take that money out, you get hammered in taxes. Wouldn't it be nice to have some money that you maybe don't get a tax deduction on, but it grows tax deferred and you get your distributions tax free? That's your Roth IRAs, your tax-free municipal bonds, and your cash value life insurance. And so what I talk to people about is being tax diversified. See, right now, most people have their money in pre-tax dollars. And when they raise taxes, and you can mark my words, you can put it on your calendar, in 20 years, taxes will be higher, those people are going to get hammered. Doesn't it make sense to have some money in tax-free income so that in retirement, if taxes go up, you take it out of the tax-free bucket? If we get a president that cuts taxes, you take it out of the taxable bucket. If you get a president who raises taxes, you take it out of the tax-free bucket. It gives you diversification.
How important is that? Because, Tommy, I think most of our consumers now have kind of figured out, okay, I need asset diversification. I need to have myself in certain stocks, certain bonds. But now you're saying, wow, I might need more than just my taxable. I might need some tax deferred. I might need some tax free to make my retirement work.
Yes. So everybody talks about asset allocation and diversification of portfolio. This is tax diversification, that you don't want to have all your eggs in the pre-tax bucket. Because if you put all your eggs in that pre-tax bucket, who's going to pay the debt off? Who's going to pay for Medicare? Who's going to pay for Medicaid? Who's going to pay for Social Security? They're going to come after the people who got money in 401ks. That's where the money is. They're going to have to come for it.
How powerful in a tax-diversified strategy using life insurance, how powerful is basis? I mean, every time we're in qualified plans, basis is gone forever.
Zero.
We have nothing. But now we have basis. That comes out free.
Tax-free base, yes. And so, I've had a lot of people say, well, Tom, life insurance is a lousy investment. I've never touted life insurance as an investment, but what life insurance is a great wealth builder. It's a great wealth accumulator. Because if you look at what wealthy people do, they don't put all their money at risk. They do not put all their money at risk. When they hit a home run, guess what? They take some profits off and they lock that in. And a lot of them do it in 10-year treasury bonds at 2.3% or whatever. Life insurance is doing better than that, and you can take money out tax-free. So all I'm saying is just start accumulating wealth. It's a great wealth builder, wealth accumulator. It's not the place you're going to get rich.
And this next thing we're going to talk about this very myth out there, which is not a good return. Well, maybe it is, maybe it isn't, and maybe we're living under old thinking paradigm and platitudes that don't exist any longer. Listen, this is not your grandfather's life insurance. So tax diversification. Now, let's talk about the tax-free, because everybody wants to talk about tax-free.
Yeah.
Okay, so my accumulation, why I'm accumulating, no taxes, it's tax deferred. If I set it up correctly, there's a few little pieces of the code that we have to obey. A non-modified endowment contract, and I'll write about it in the article. If you see this episode, just look for the actual blog. I write about that to explain it. It'll be tax-free when I take withdrawals of my basis, my original contributions out, and I take policy loans which are collateralized against the contract. That's all free, Tom.
Right.
And none of this goes to my Social Security and is includable in the Social Security tax benefit calculation.
Right. And that's why, tax-free income in retirement is so important. And this is a source of tax-free retirement income. And I'm not saying put all your money in there. I think it's clear, Steve. We're not saying put all your money in life insurance, or put all your money in annuities, or put all your money in long. We're saying have a strategy, have a plan, have some options so that you're not stuck paying for everybody else's debt and for everybody else's Social Security and Medicare and Medicaid.
Really, when I think about I'm on the timeline now, I can feel the pressure of my horizon not that far away. Converted my Roths over the years. We're sitting there with basis now and non-qualified monies. Our combination of Roth, cash value life insurance. We are now almost to the place where taxes is going to be a rate of return in itself.
Yeah. And think about the death benefit being tax-free. So if we talk estate planning, okay, so you use this for your life, but then when you die, the death benefit goes to your family tax-free. That can be used to pass a business equitably among children. If you got 3 children and only one of them's in the business, you can use life insurance to go to the other kids so this kid can run the business. If it's a farm, you got a lot of times there's farmers and this child is running the farm and these children are entitled to a share of it, but the kid needs a whole farm. Well, use life insurance to transfer money equitably, not equally. Equal is not always fair. Equitably is fair, and you can use life insurance in the estate planning, in the wealth transfer. It was the third part of that article. I said there were 3 things. Number 1, life insurance is a women's issue. We discussed that. Life insurance is a tax issue. We discussed that. And the third one is life insurance is a wealth transfer issue. It's the most efficient way to pass wealth to children, grandchildren, and charities.
I love your thing, the most optimized. I love your optimize, your maximize. Those phrases are big adjectives in my thinking. And when I think about, I can transfer monies, but how can I transfer it in the most effective and efficient way? How can I do that?
And so it's all about getting the most for the least. And whenever I write my books, all my books are talking about how to retire optimally, how to get the biggest bang for every dollar you got. And people think life insurance is like spending money or waste of money. No, it's leverage. It's the most efficient way to transfer wealth. People think of annuities. Oh, annuities are bad. No, annuities are the most efficient way to get income for the rest of your life and take longevity risk off the table. So each of these things fits in the right place. Stocks and bonds, they can help protect you against inflation. So a diversified portfolio. So they all fit, but you got to know how to optimize and get the most for the least.
Yeah, I think the combination of thinking about how life insurance is today, especially tax-free income, we have a lot of diversification in the credit strategies. I mean, conservative whole life. You could be doing indices, both foreign and domestic, and index. You could even be playing with equities and bonds inside a variable contract. There's different formats. So one size doesn't fit all. And because we have such diversity, you're going to have to probably do a risk tolerance test to find out which one you should be going into.
Right.
Now, Tom, last second before we walk out of here. When we're talking about transferring to the next generation, can I transfer and skip a generation and send it to my grandkids.
Sure you can. I mean, there's ways to do that. And again, I would tell people to work with their financial advisor, but yes, there are ways to do that.
Second to die is a great one.
Yep.
And I love the ability to maybe skip over the children and maybe go to the grandchildren.
Absolutely.
Hope you're not watching this episode. Don't forget to watch part 5 on our series on life insurance, the concerns and myths. And keep in mind, before moving forward with any of the ideas on our show, always check with your tax consultant, legal counsel, or financial advisor. You've been watching Steve Savant's Money, the Maven.
Oh my